Hey, Doug and Pat here with another episode of the Wealthy Gym Owners. And today we're going to talk tech. We're going to talk about tech and automations that more specifically Doug's using in Spurling Fitness as they scale, as they are now moving into location number 3 with more on the way. So, Doug, pull back the curtain. Tell us what you're using.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I'll say is, I don't consider myself like completely numb with tech, but I don't consider myself a tech like expert or guru. So I'll try to speak at it from what I would consider to be probably average, but not above average. And so I think that's probably good because I'm not, one of those guys that's going to go super in the weeds about it. And I also think that we have currently, as of today, found a nice balance of not too much tech, not too much automation, but enough to help the business work efficiently. And, we're recording this in January 2026. So what I share today, there may be new stuff. I know there will be new stuff, in the future. That's the pro and con of tech, right? Is it's always changing and it's changing rapidly. But I think there's a sweet spot as gym owners that we have to live in where we can't be anti-tech and anti-automation because I think if that's your mindset right now, you're probably doing a lot of manual things that it's just not worth the time. At the same time, there's the other extreme, which we kind of have to talk some gym owners down from, which is you don't need 18 different subscriptions of AI stuff. You don't need everything automated when you're doing 15 grand a month, right? There's that sweet spot. So the first thing that I look at is your lead follow up and making sure that whether you're a client of ours and using automatic members or you're using something where you can automate the speed, what we call speed to lead. Speed to lead is probably one of the most, if not the most important metrics once a lead comes in, how fast you reply to them. We live in a world where people want responses like that, and so the automations that you set up can certainly help with that speed to lead. But the thing I'll say about lead follow up is we have it where when the automation is set up, they get it automatically, both text and email. But we still do manual phone calls, right? We have not, and I maybe one day I'll recommend it if it gets really good, but I am not currently using and not a fan of automated phone calls or using AI bots to do your calls. We've seen it, we've heard it, and it's getting better, but it's not there. And I think, with us being a personal business and a service business, I still think the average client does more harm than good. Then the last thing I'll say with the lead follow-up stuff is you got to make sure that the automation stops when they reply. Because we have not seen it. Again, maybe it gets there, but we have not seen it where once a lead replies, AI or automations can continue to nurture the conversation. It's getting there, but it's not there yet. So you can look kind of like a dummy if the automations are still going, but somebody has replied and they're not answering to a human or their responses don't match up. So that's how we're using the tech and the automation side on lead follow-up.
So, I understand how exciting or inviting it is for people to say, "Hey, I'm going to use AI to do this or that," and they'll see things in the internet marketing world and they'll try to adopt it to a local business, but they'll forget that your local business may be drawing from a community of 30,000 people that are in that 3 to 5 mile radius of you, that every lead is precious, right? Because there are only so many people that fit your client avatar. There are only so many people who are in the market to do this sort of thing now. And a lot of this stuff where people say, well, we just automate everything and everything's AI and we use, um, you know, AI driven, voicemails and everything. It's like, yeah, but they're also, they're doing cold outreach to 50,000 people a day. They're using, a dozen different inboxes to be able to pull this off. And so it's a numbers game. It's a volume game. And in our world, it's not that there's not a volume component that we're looking for. I mean, we have a certain number of leads we want to generate every month, but if you're getting 40 leads a month, we have to treat all 40 of those like they're gold. And so we don't want to, water down the quality of the follow-up because every one of those potentially, at least with the clients we work with, might be worth three, four, $5,000 or more lifetime value at minimum. So, those leads are precious.
Yeah, for sure. If we're moving through this is how I think about it, by the way. I just think like as we move through the journey of a client, where is there an opportunity to make it more efficient, right? Without reducing quality, without removing the relationship component. So lead follow-up would certainly be the first piece. Then it's getting those leads to actually show. So we certainly take advantage of any automation with things like appointment reminders, syncing with calendars, all of those, even like within automatic members where when you book an appointment, it automatically adds it to their calendar. Most people are using some type of electronic calendar nowadays. And so little things like that if you're not using, I think those are easy things to install. The automated text reminders leading up to the appointment, text and email. Again, we're always not, at least currently, we're always injecting some type of manual on top of that. So, for example, we have all that, calendar invites, text, email built out. At the same time, we're also calling every appointment the day before to make sure that they're showing, just to put that voice to the clients. They can familiarize themselves. We can troubleshoot if they do answer, we can troubleshoot any questions they have. So injecting some of that manual. And then, the next stage would be our onboarding a client.
Well,
So
let me interject and ask a quick question. So, even on the calls, are you setting an automation that delivers, hey, this is who's coming in today, and you're getting the information in the inbox?
yep,
Yeah.
yep,
So again, even there, we have the opportunity to lower the friction, to make it easy for our teams to say, "Hey, this is who I need to reach out to today. The phone number's in front of me, the information on the prospective clients in front of me." So even there's opportunities to leverage technology and still blend it with personal.
yeah. That's a good point. I'm glad you mentioned that. The whole, like, one of the challenges of a gym owner, I know there's many. One of them is like, what do I work on today, or what do I do today? Like, I have all this stuff I need to do. What do I do? And this is specifically in regards to lead follow-up and appointment confirmations, but you could do this for your accountability reach outs. You can do this for anything using the kind of task feature, or any of those kind of summaries that send you every day. Hey, here's who you need to call. Like logging into the dashboard. Like for our team, they just log into the dashboard every day, and it tells them their tasks. Right. So now they still have to do those tasks. Like there's still work to be done, but to your point, they're not having to guess at what they're doing. It's like, hey, this is who's due a 6-week letter. This appointment's tomorrow. Let's, you know what I mean? Kind of putting it more in front of their face, for sure, for sure. Um, with client onboarding, again, this one we haven't messed with a ton recently. We're still using automations to deliver all the education. We are using the tasks features to set up milestone reminders. So, for example, at the 6-week mark, our clients get a handwritten note. So, using the task feature to remind the staff. We're not going to send them, like, I'm personally not a fan of the I know there's services out there that can automate letters based upon a client and they're not handwritten. And even if they're fake handwritten, I think most consumers know if it's handwritten or not. So our team are still writing the letters. We're still doing the work, but putting that stuff in front of them with the automations is how we're kind of supporting. I would say the onboarding and even just the client milestones in general is putting that stuff in front of the team as reminders to then do the work of sending the letters, of doing the check-ins, et cetera.
I think that is probably the most unheralded part of all of this, right? Because the the things that we do for clients that lower the friction for them, I mean, they still have to work out, but we're giving them the venue, we're telling them what to do, we're giving them the equipment, we're facilitating them doing it at the right tempo and the right way. And automation can kind of do that for you as a business owner or as a business team member. And, we think about it doing it for us instead of creating an environment where it's just really low friction for us to do it the way that needs to be done to get the best possible result.
Yep, for sure. Other small things that I think are very helpful in both on, expense savings and time efficiency, is things like graphics. We're big fans of just your team having a Canva account, and Canva has continued to been kind of the leader with graphic design. It's not super complicated. I remember back in the day, you used to have to, if you wanted a postcard design, you used to have to spend a couple $100 to get a postcard design. Now you can whip it together in Canva in 2 seconds. So, certainly that's part of our tech stack is making sure our front end team has the team version of Canva. I know it's a small detail, but it's very helpful because you can both, you can all work on the design and you can all put inputs on it. So from a design standpoint, certainly utilizing Canva. The other ones that we're starting to build out more and more of is the automation of taking information that is in CRMs and feeding it into a dashboard that the team has access to, that is kind of live updated. The work of updating your numbers, and I'm a big numbers guys. All of our clients have to submit their scoreboard to me every Friday. So I'm a big numbers fan, but the point of the numbers is to analyze them and take action based upon what they are. It's not to spend an hour updating the numbers, right? That's just busy work. So fitting in automation to say, okay, here's our leads, here's our appointments, here's our conversion percentage, here's how many people are at risk, and automating that, populating that into one dashboard so that the team can look at it every day and say, easily identify, here's the bottleneck today, here's what we need to focus on today. So again, we still got to do the work to solve the bottleneck. There's still the manual, but we're not having to go manually pull reports. We're not having to go manually pull numbers and update scoreboards, which obviously saves a ton of time.
Yeah, I think the thing that I always come back to, and I know that you've heard me talk about this at length, is just, we need to focus on the things that probably don't change a whole lot. You're going to need to know numbers in perpetuity, right? We're going to need to generate leads and follow up with leads and, onboard them in a way that gives them the best possible probability of having the experience we want them to have. Like, these things are going to continue as long as we have brick and mortar facilities. How can we find technology to make it easier to execute this without lowering the quality? And in some cases, improving the quality, because maybe there's speed and consistency that we wouldn't have been able to have without that technology. And that's the way that I think that we look at this. And mind you, I know I try to come off as a tech dunce in many ways, but I try to pay very close attention to this. I've become a limited partner in a investment fund for AI companies, and really, as much as anything, to try to see where this is headed and see where the opportunities are. So oblivious to it. But the smartest minds I know in the tech and AI space all will kind of parallel what you just kind of unpacked is like, man, it's not replacing the human stuff. It's helping us do the human stuff better.
Yep. Yep. One of our favorite things that we do is it's small, but it's super helpful. We have in the grand scheme of our training gym industry a fairly large team, and so one of the challenges is of course making sure everybody knows what's going on and kind of the communication piece of it, right? And for us, we use meetings to distribute information. And I'm always skeptical, like, okay, cool, we had that meeting, but does everybody know what the action items are, right? And so using AI to not only record the meeting, but also then disperse automatically a summary with action items and kind of time-stamped action items, who's responsible for what. We'll use Loom. We use the crap out of Loom and the kind of screen recording with AI breakdown, AI summary. Those things again, I still want to get belly to belly with team members and have meetings, so I'm not removing that. But you know, in the past, I would have to kind of manually follow up with a summary. I would kind of, have to always question, did they actually get the action items that I thought they were going to get? Versus now, obviously we can proof it before it goes out, but having that summary done and those meeting notes automatically sent, super, super helpful. And then the last one is fairly I don't want to say basic, but is just continuing to take any information that we have and use AI to help us give more accurate information. So, for example, taking our list of clients and their birth dates, exporting it and putting it into AI and having a more detailed breakdown that our CRM doesn't provide. But AI could easily say, hey, here's your average age so that you can get more targeted with your clients. Exporting the addresses of clients so that you can see and use AI to help you understand in not just a guessing fashion where your clients live. So, small things, but certainly things that move the needle.
Very good. Well, again, we're in a personal business, a service business, and technology is continually improving and it's going to be able to help us, and we shouldn't be resistant to that. But remember, technology is, again, designed to help us, not replace us. So, all right. Well, that's Pat and Doug with another episode of the Wealthy Gym Owners signing off.